Luthier, and this is coming from the same creators that brought you the game Distilled, but in this game you're going to be building and repairing instruments out of bone, wood, and metal. Each player is going to have their own personal workbench where they're going to be tracking their instrument cards, their materials, and the different patron cards that they're trying to fulfill. Each patron may have certain types of instruments that they want either built or repaired, and they might even require some scores of music as well. At the start of each round, players can add or remove any instrument cards from their workbench depending on what they want to work on for that round, and then players are going to be taking turns placing their worker tokens out on the various locations out on the main board. You are allowed to place more than one of your tokens at a single location, but it's only the first one that you place there that's going to be contributing its initiative value. Then the other tokens are just going to be adding one to that value for each additional token that you placed. After all the tokens have been placed, they're going to be revealed, and then the player with the highest value at each location gets to take that action first. Each of the locations do offer two options that you can choose from. You can either take a certain amount of a particular type of resource that that location offers, or you can choose one of the cards that are available there. The different cards you can gain are the patron cards that you're trying to fulfill, and then there are the performance cards, the instrument cards, and the repair cards that you're going to be using to fulfill those patrons. In addition to those different resource types that you're going to be using as materials to build and repair instruments, you can also gain money as well as inspiration tokens or apprentices that can help you in a variety of different ways. In addition to this, each location does grant you with a bonus if your initiative value is high enough. Whenever you gain a patron card, it's going to be going into one of the open locations out on your board, but each of these patrons are going to want a number of performances, instruments built, or instruments repaired in order to fulfill their requirements. Not only that, there's going to be a token located underneath that patron, and this indicates their patience wearing thin the longer that you take to fulfill their orders. Luckily, each time this does move forward, it does grant you with the associated bonus located above the token on their card, and also anytime you're able to fulfill even one of their requirements, it's going to be resetting that token back to its starting position, so this can buy you some time. In order to fulfill a performance requirement, you're going to have to take the performance action and then choose one of the cards at that location that match the type of performance that that patron wants. Each of these cards offer an increasing amount of bonuses depending on the quality of performance that you're able to create, and the way that you determine that is by rolling 2 dice and then adding the value of those dice onto the initiative that you already have at that location. Each roll on the card is going to be associated with a range of initiative, and whichever you end up falling into is going to be the rewards that you get. If you have any inspiration tokens, you can also spend those at this time in order to increase the quality even more. In order to fulfill an instrument or repair action, you're going to have to go to the associated action location and gain an instrument card or a repair card of the appropriate type. Then you'll just have to pay the resources required for that repair or that instrument in order to fulfill that requirement. The difference between the repairs and the instruments is that instruments can be built over multiple turns, whereas the repairs need to be done instantly when you gain that card. This means that you do need to have the resources when you pick up that repair card in order to fulfill it, but luckily the inspiration tokens do also act as a wild resource. But for all these different types of actions that you can take out on the main board, if you do it well enough, you can actually move up the performance track, granting you with different abilities to make those associated actions easier on a future turn. Not only that, but you'll also be able to take one of your tokens and place it onto the orchestra board, matching one of the locations associated with the action that you just fulfilled. This creates some area control because whichever player was there first or whichever player has the most influence at that location is going to be earning the most victory points from it at the end of the game. But there is a special token when you build an instrument that if you put it there, it's going to be trumping every other token there, no matter how many influence tokens a player has placed there. And when you do fully complete a patron card, you do get a really nice bonus because you'll be able to slide that card behind your board, granting you with either a special ability for the rest of the game or some sort of scoring objective for extra victory points at the end of the game. And when players do reach the end of the game, you're going to be adding up your victory points based on your control on the orchestra board, any of your completed secret or shared objectives, and then any victory points you gain from your remaining resources, and then the most victory points wins the game. And if you are interested, check this one out. I will have it linked in the description down below.